God is good
God is good.
all the time. And all the time, God is good. Okay, let's go to the Lord in prayer. Dear God, we are so thankful to be here this morning. We thank you, Lord, for this service and for the way you have been taking care of us. Lord, we continue to pray for this nation and the world. People are really, really mourning their loved ones. The situation is getting out of control. But we do know one more thing, you are in control. Lord, take care of everyone who are going through corona, struggles, protests all over. Lord, we need your intervention. We love you, Lord, and it's your name we pray. And all God's people say together, Amen. I welcome you today to this morning broadcast. I know you are watching wherever you are, at your home, and we thank you for that too. We haven't started full church service because we are still following the recommendations on how to stay safe. So we have just a few people here who are just operating the machine. And our message today is, whose neighbor are you? Most time we will ask, who is my neighbor? But we don't ask ourselves, whose neighbor I am. We may complain about our neighbors. My neighbor is not good. My neighbor is noisy. Has a lot of music going on. But we don't ask ourselves, what about me? Whose neighbor I am? Who can need me in difficult situations? And that is why one of the teachers of law approached Jesus. And they wanted to test Jesus. And they asked Jesus, who is my neighbor? Not whose neighbor I am. Who is my neighbor? But today I'm teaching you or preaching about whose neighbor am I? Whose neighbor are you? Where people can come to you when they need help. Not you going to get help from them, but you giving help to them when they need it. And Jesus gave a story, which you can turn with me, on the book of Luke. Luke chapter 10. Luke 10. Luke comes after Mark. Between Mark and John. It's one of the four Gospels if you don't know of Jesus Christ. So, the book of Luke, chapter 10, all the way to verse 30. But let's go a little bit back, 27, up to 27. Luke 10, 27. He answered, love the Lord with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your strength, and with all your mind. And love your neighbor as yourself. But then he said this to Jesus. He's a teacher of the law, remember? You have answered correctly, Jesus replied. Do this and you will live. But he wanted to justify himself. So he asked Jesus, and who is my neighbor? Think about it. He asked Jesus another question. Jesus had no problem answering him. Jesus said, he gave a story. A man was going down from Jerusalem to Jericho when he was attacked by robbers. They stripped him of his clothes, beat him up, and went away, leaving him half dead. A priest happened to be going down the same road, and when he saw the man, he passed by on the other side. So too, a Levite, when he came to the place and saw him, passed by on the other side. I want you to remember, these people, the Levite, the priest, are the people who were preaching about the gospel, are people who are preaching about the law of Moses. Here they pass and leaves the man lying for dead. They did nothing. And in their messages, they were preaching, love one another. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. Yet, they found somebody in need, and they did absolutely nothing. They were good with words, but they were short in deeds. They were not practicing what they preached. And most likely, though the scripture doesn't say, this injured man was of their race. Because from where he was coming from Jerusalem to Jericho, it shows he was a Jew. But they left him there because they did not want to touch blood, they didn't want to help, they didn't want to stop what they were doing. They were just passing on there, they continued with their business as if nothing happened. How many times do we do that? We pass by when there's a need. Think about it. And we are talking about love. Love one another. Love your neighbor. But when it comes to true love, we do nothing. And this man, it shows for him to be robbed, he had money. He was wealthy too. He was not a poor guy. Because they robbed him, showing he had money. But they left him there for dead. The robbers, mostly they were the same race. They left him there for dead. The Levites were very prestigious people, privileged, to help other people to get to the Lord or to God. Yet, passed by. The priest, he was the one who was leading people to confession. He was the one who was interceding for people to God. He passed by. And they left him there to die. Think about that up to that far. The story doesn't end there. The story continues. Then there came a Samaritan. A Samaritan, those who may not know, a Samaritan were not supposed to mix with Jews. They were like outcasts. So, this Samaritan, he knew very well, this man lying here doesn't like me. I want you to think about it. Samaritan, this guy doesn't like me, but he's injured. I need to help him. And if you continue the story, you're going to see more what Samaritan did. Let's see, what verse are we? Okay. Let's go to verse 33. But a Samaritan, as he traveled, came where the man was, and when he saw him, he took pity on him. He went to him and bandaged his wounds, pouring on oil and wine. Then he put the man on his own donkey, brought him to an inn, and took care of him. The next day he took out 2 denaries and gave them to the innkeeper. Look after him, he said, and when I return, I will reimburse you for any extra expense you may have. Think about it. I want you to think about this man. He was minding his own business, the Samaritan. And he finds this man lying down. What did he do? He got off from his donkey, his beast, to take care of this man. And I want you to follow closely. This is the most important point I want to stress. He took care of him, bandaged his wounds, but see what he did. He took him to his donkey. And he got off from where he was on top of the donkey and came to the ground to pick it. Somebody, they changed places. They traded places. The Samaritan, who was enjoying riding his donkey, decided to walk alongside this man who is now on top of his donkey. He brought somebody up. He brought himself down. How many times do we do that? Bringing ourselves down and bring somebody else up. Think about it. We don't. We just want to be up and help people when they are down. But we don't want to get down where they are and help them. And the story doesn't talk more about the Levite or the priest who were very high. It talks about somebody who humbled himself to the lowest to bring somebody up. And that's what we need to do. To go down to help the poor. To go down to help the people who are underprivileged. To go down and help one another. Why are we not doing that? Why are we only focusing on the people who drive what we drive? Who are the same color like us? Who live in the same neighborhood like us? We need to go down to the lowest. People who are down, spiritually, emotionally, physically. And we see he did not only take the man to the inn, he spent his own money. Who's time we don't want to spend our money to help one another? He spent his own money to a total stranger. And we don't see the Samaritan saying a single word to the victim. We don't see the Samaritan asking, where are you from? What race are you? How much money do you make? He doesn't. But all we see is him taking action instead of words. The only time we see the Samaritan talking is talking to the innkeeper, asking innkeeper, telling innkeeper, whatever extra you incur, expenses, I will come back to pay you. And this shows this Samaritan had good relationship with the innkeeper. Because we don't see the innkeeper saying nothing. He says, okay. Think about it. He had created good relationships by his action. Have you created good relationships with other people? Where you can say, I'll be back to pay you later. And people say, it's okay. I'll be there on such and such a time. So we see the good side of the Samaritan because the innkeeper trusted him. And he took care of the injured man who was a total stranger. And he paid the bill. Why are we putting ourselves in a situation where we don't want to help one another with what God has blessed us with? We need to help one another, regardless of the situations. And the story continues then, Jesus asking, who was the neighbor to the man who was injured? And the teacher of the law said, the one who helped him. Think about that. He answered this question, the one who helped the injured man. All we need is to put our own selfish interest aside and do what God told us to do. Jesus said, love one another. Remember, this teacher of the law had answered, I do all those things. But when he was given the story, he was surprised. Do I do that? And Jesus tells him, go and do likewise. Go and be like the Good Samaritan. We hear that stories all over the world, Good Samaritan. But what did they do? Do they do what Jesus really said here? To put yourself down, to bring somebody else up? How many times do we put that people down? Instead of helping them to get up. We don't see this man, the Good Samaritan, losing anything for getting down to help this guy. It's the way we need to be. We don't lose nothing by helping one another. It may be inconvenient for a while. He was inconvenienced for stopping. And I want you to think about this one for a moment. Think about the Good Samaritan took a lot of risk. Because he didn't know whether the robbers are still watching and they can attack him. But he took that risk to help the person. And that's what we need to do. Take a risk and help one another. You may not get the results. We don't see these guys coming together again. After he paid the bill, we don't see what happened to the Good Samaritan. He went on his mission. But we see his story. That's why we are reading after 2,000 years. About his action. He did. He took action instead of words. Book of James says faith without action is dead. Let's take action and help one another. Jesus said, I give you a new commandment. Love God with all your mind, soul, and heart. And love your neighbor the way you love yourself. So he compounded all the 10 commandments into one. Love. Love God, love your neighbor. But we don't. Most time we don't. We have to love people who love us. So if you love only people who love you, what's the difference? Even sinners, they love people who love them. But we have to be different. To love one another regardless of who they are. Different race, this is a very good example. Like what is happening right now. We are seeing protests all over. People not happy to see how people are being discriminated against. And we see people of all colors now coming together to say there has to be a change. Why? Because people forgot this what Jesus said. Whose neighbor are you? And we need to come together and say, God, we have sinned against you. Help us how to be each other's keeper. And maybe you may not know. This is a very good example. They didn't know each other. But he helped the man. And he went extra mile. We do go extra mile to help one another. Get out of comfort zone. He got off his comfort zone from his beast to get down when he could have just continued. The others, they did not want to stop what they were doing, the priest. Maybe he said, I'm in a hurry. I have a mass to attend, to take care of. The Levite, the same way, I have people to teach. I have to go. But this one stopped. How many times have you stopped? Have you gotten off your comfort zone to take care of somebody who is needy? What have you sacrificed for the sake of helping one another? Let's do what Jesus told this man to do. When he was he asked, then tell me which one is his neighbor. Then he said, the one who helped him. And Jesus summarized that story with what I'm summarizing it with you today. Go and do likewise, and you will live. He continues Jesus' word. Go and do likewise, and you will live. How does the scripture say that? Let's do likewise. Let's get out of our comfort zones and help one another. I don't want to close this broadcast before giving you a chance to give your life to the Lord. So pray this prayer with me. Dear Jesus,
Dear Jesus,
come into my life.
come into my life.
Forgive me
Forgive me
all my sins.
all my sins.
Lord,
Lord,
I want to be a good Samaritan,
I want to be a good Samaritan,
to help one another.
to help one another.
In Jesus' name,
In Jesus' name,
I pray.
I pray.
And all God's people say together,
Amen.
So go and do likewise, and you'll be blessed, and everything is going to be fine. Everything is going to be just fine. Amen?
Amen.
Amen. Okay, that is the end of today's message, and we will be broadcasting every Sunday as usual. And feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you can be getting our messages even without us sending to you. It doesn't cost you nothing, it's free, and you'll be blessed. Amen?
Amen.
Amen.
Amen.